So when I started my first business, I remember signing the lease and having my heart drop because this really exciting thing that was once my dream all of a sudden became a reality, and then I was terrified because I realized that I had no idea how to get customers. But I did learn about this thing called Facebook ads, and that was ultimately how I got my first 29 clients at my brick and mortar facility way back when, almost a decade ago. And since then, we've learned a lot of different ways to get customers. And so over the last year, we spent $1 million plus. Honestly, we've spent a lot more than that. But for the purpose of this video, I'll say $1 million. I think we've probably spent like 4 or 5 million year to date. But I think $1 million is a nice round number for my YouTube headline. The thing is that the vast majority of the customers that I have don't actually come from paid advertising. Crazy, right? And so what's interesting is that as I've looked at my businesses that I've aged as an entrepreneur or become more experienced, I'll put it that way, I've diversified how I get my customers. And one of the interesting things that's happened is that when I started this game, I was the paid advertising guy. That was how I got in. I was like, forget everything else. Paid ads is the way to go. It is the truth. It is everything, right? But what's happened is that over time, my perspective on this has dramatically shifted. And part of that is because I have realized that I think there's a lot more of a it depends type of answer for it. So if you are looking at the largest companies that are out there, the vast majority of them, with the exception of consumer products, are not based on paid advertising. Like if you're a consumer products company, if you sell widgets or you sell Gatorade, whatever it is, the vast majority of the revenue comes from paid advertising and media. And you really just become a media company with a product that you can push and sell on a large scale. But most people, or a lot of the people that I work with, sell B2B and sell in different ways that are not that type of product. And so when I look at the biggest companies that are not consumer goods, the vast majority of them are not driven by direct response paid advertising. But if you look at Salesforce, right, which is a CRM for businesses, they didn't grow based on ads. They grew based on a number of other things. A lot of them is word of mouth, right? A lot of them is outbound, right? And so what I want to do today is walk you through the different ways that we get customers and the different categories that exist and how you can think through it. And this is going to be a repeated theme because this is the framework. This is probably one of, if not the most important framework that I use when I'm looking at scaling a company. One of our companies in acquisition.com. So when we take on businesses, which are usually like 3 to 10 million, we invest in them and then we scale them. This is one of the first frameworks that I look at in figuring out, is the traffic channel that they're using the best one long-term? Are there short and easy wins that we can do immediately to get or double or triple or quadruple the amount of customers they have, and all of that kind of cool stuff, all right? So the first one here is the first thing I talked about, right, is paid ads, all right? And the reason that this is interesting is that this is one that a lot of people talk about. It is the fast money way because you can turn them on and immediately start getting business. The difficulty that I have found is that at large scale, especially in B2B or B2B2C businesses, it can become more challenging, especially in niches. And that is because you can burn through an entire marketplace very, very quickly with paid ads, and you have to learn how to scale outside of that, all right? So paid ads covers any kind of advertising that you have to pay a platform for. So you'll notice the left column is all gonna be about platforms, and the right column is all gonna be about people, all right? Actually, I'll save that. I'll tell you what it's gonna be in a second, all right? So 1, paid ads. 2, and this one is one that is what I'm doing right now, right? This is earned media. All right, so this is media that a platform will give me for free to distribute, valuable stuff, right? So I'm getting these impressions for free. And so that is earned media. Now this takes a long time to do. You have to be good. People have to find your stuff interesting, all of that kind of stuff. But it is definitely a way to build a business. Look at Kylie Jenner. She's like, hey, I've got 100 million followers. I say, hey, buy my $29 lip kit, and boom, she makes $25 million a month. Crazy, right? Now, that being said, the best way to do that is to pick Kris Jenner as your mother when you're being born. I'm kidding. Lots of respect for what you guys have done if you ever watch this video. But besides that, earned media is not the fastest way, but it is a way of building something that can become the base or foundation for getting new customers. The third way is through owned media, all right? Now, owned media is all the contacts that you have and have already given you permission to contact them, all right? So this is all the people in your CRM. This is all the people in your cell phone. This is all the people in your contacts list that you've collected over the years. All of those people have already given you permission to contact them. Do you know who else is in that list? Wait for it. every single person that you're connected with on social media. So all the friends, all the followers, all the friends you have on Facebook, all the followers you have on Instagram, those are all people who've actually given you permission to contact them without any opt-in form. You can directly message someone on Instagram. You can directly message someone who's a friend of yours on Facebook without any kind of filters. And so it's funny because I have entrepreneurs who reach out to me and they're like, hey man, I don't know how to get my first customers. I'm like, dude, you've got 2,000 friends on Facebook and you've got 2,000 followers. I'm like, you got 4,000 leads right there. And you haven't even reached out to them. And they're free, and they're literally right there, and they already kind of know, like, and trust you. Huh, interesting. I got a buddy of mine who does $1 million a month just off this one platform. That's all he does. These are the three that are based on platforms. So you've got paid media, you got earned media, and you got owned media, all right? Now, the second category of ways that I look at when I'm scaling the businesses that we take on and that we invest in is manual outbound. So this is cold calls, cold emails, cold DMs. If you're in an industry that allows it, cold texts, which is not a lot of them, but some of them are allowed. All of those things are things that you have a person who is reaching out to people who have not given you permission to contact them, and you're reaching out to them as basically interruption-based advertisements. You're one-on-one manually scaling something. What's interesting and fascinating about this, and I'm gonna save the sixth one for last because I think it's the most powerful, and what you'll notice in all of these is that they are all linear, meaning for every input, you have usually an equal or proportional output. So you might get 3 to 1, so you put 1 in, you get 3 out. You put 1 in, you get 3 out. And whether you put 100 in or you put 3,000 in, you're still gonna get that same ratio out, all right? One of these compounds. The rest are linear, all right? So first one, paid, earned, owned, and then manual outbound, all right? This is, so for us, as I've transitioned, as I've aged, I've moved from this column, this side over here, to this column over here, all right? So number 5 is affiliates. So these are all the people who already have pooled together all of your dream customers. All the customers, your customer avatars are already existing in one place. They belong to associations, they're in Facebook groups, they're on mailing lists, they're all pooled somewhere. And if they're not pooled somewhere, then you probably should reconsider what type of business you have. But most of your dream avatars are somewhere. And so the idea with affiliates is to go find someone and create a win-win situation where they can refer you business and you can pay them or compensate them in some way, right? And the key to making this work, and this is where most people mess up, and this beautiful thing about affiliates is that it works at every level, right? If I've got a dry cleaning store, right, I'm gonna look at the other places that I can affiliate with that already have my ideal customers. So probably lots of fancy stores that sell fancy clothing that need to be dry cleaned. Those would probably be the places that I would look at trying to make affiliate relationship with for their customers when they sell a jacket to send them to me. But the key is not to just drop your business cards at the front desk or figuratively do that even in an online setting and just say, hey, can you refer me business? And they're like, sure. And then they just toss your cards as soon as you leave the door, right? Instead, it's about having full integration partners, all right? And the way that works is you have to walk them through what their customer experience looks like. So after they buy at the counter, I need you to do is I need you to put this in and staple it to the top of their bag and say, hey, these 3 magic words. And as a result, I'm gonna be able to pay you for every single person that X, Y, and Z is for me, right? And so you have to do a full integration. This is where everyone messes this up, all right? So 2 of the companies that I have, so right now, affiliates are responsible across 2 different entities that I have for $2.5 million a month, just of the revenue that we do. So 85 million, $2.5 million a month comes from affiliates, all right? It's a huge, huge opportunity. And the beautiful thing here too is that it's free, right? The only cost of affiliates is just the cost of acquiring the affiliate. And in a second, I'm gonna show you how all these things work together, all right? But for right now, I just wanna delineate them. So an affiliate, so for us, we have our huge distribution base of brick and mortar facilities. They are our affiliates for the supplements, right? I also worked with affiliates on our software to get agencies, right? So that we could work their leads for them. Those are affiliates, right? We are integrated into their customer base, customer life cycle. And the reason that you do this and the reason they would do it is that you have to find a way to enhance their value proposition. So for example, if I were trying to get that fancy clothing company, right, to get my dry cleaning store, then I would tell them, hey, for any person who buys your thing, I will give them a free dry cleaning of the thing they just bought if they bring it to my store. Now, all of a sudden, that business has a superior value proposition that they can offer to their clothes buying customers and the guy down the street. They're like, wow, this place is ritzy. They even have negotiated a relationship with another vendor to take care of me. It's the next natural need I'm going to have. And if I were also a dry cleaner, I'd probably negotiate with a tailor who can custom fit stuff and make adjustments on clothing, right? We got to think like this. And so if we do that and we get that full integration, now it's valuable to their customers. They get perceived as more valuable. And then on top of that, you can choose to pay them for every person who redeems it, right? Now all of a sudden they're adding more gross profit to their business. They have a superior value proposition, all by working with you. You've now made it a win for them and cost them nothing. And for you, you have no risk. You don't have to pay a platform. You're paying another business. And the thing is that's just one affiliate. Imagine having 200 of those clothing stores pushing towards your dry cleaning, right? That's the game. Okay, so that's affiliates. And the sixth way here is the most powerful. All right, can anyone guess what it is? Dun, dun, dun. It's referrals, word of mouth. That's what that is, WOM. Every one of these other ones are linear in that, there's X input and X output that's gonna happen. There might be some, 1 to 3, 1 to 10, whatever it is, but that ratio is fixed. The crazy thing is that with referrals, one person can become the beginning of the entire business. One person tells 2 people tell 4 people, 4 people tell 8 people, etc. Right? And when I look at the biggest businesses that exist out there, they're all on this side. The vast majority of them, if they're selling B2B. If you're selling consumer goods, like I said earlier, a lot of them are over here, right? They've really become media companies and all about marketing, right? But for everyone else, especially if you're selling higher ticket services, if you want something that is super, super sustainable, super, super enduring, something that is a more sellable enterprise, 4, 5, and 6 are the way to do it. And what's interesting to me is that over time, I have really just focused so much on this guy because I can't help but think to myself, if I'm building a product, I want the product to do all this work. If I sell someone, I want that sale to do work for me. I want that person to bring me another customer because this one multiplies the rest of the entire board, right? If my referrals and my word of mouth are crazy, when I start running paid ads, my ROI starts multiplying like crazy and becomes overwhelming and crazy, right? And I said crazy a lot of times. So in my book, there it is, in this book, I talk about how we have 36 to 1 lifetime return on advertising and it continues to improve. All right, and the reason we have 36 to 1 return on advertising is because we have other ways of getting customers, and each customer comes imbued within it more customers. And that's the real secret to this. And so if you're like, I can't get above 2 to 1, I can't get above 4 to 1, you have to ask yourself the question, which is, why does my food suck? Why are my customers ashamed of getting me more customers? Why are they not telling other businesses or other people about my services? Because if it were so good, why aren't they doing it? And so in one of my other videos, I talk about the 3 questions that are great for framing value in terms of your product itself. But one that I think is very powerful is, if you could only sell one more customer and you could not do any of these other 5 ways of getting new business, and that one customer had to be the source of new business for you, what type of experience would that person have to go through in order to become a raving fan and bring everyone they know to you? When you answer that question, it will frame how you should create the product and create an amazing customer experience so that you can get more customers from every other channel that you use to acquire customers, okay? Quick recap here. If I'm trying to get customers, we spent millions and millions and millions of dollars on acquiring them. There are 2 categories. You've got platforms and you've got people. And if I'm trying to bring on a business and I'm trying to scale that business, I'm going to look at which ones of these do I feel like make the most sense. And if I'm trying to build an enduring enterprise, typically me, Alex, will shift a lot of effort over time towards 4, 5, and 6, and not necessarily away from 1, 2, and 3, but I will add these to it because it creates this solid base. Because when I go from 1 outbound person to 10, I can reliably count on the fact that I will have 10 times the sales. I don't have to worry about ad accounts getting shut down. I don't have to worry about platforms. I don't have to worry about any of that. As long as we have a phone or as long as we have profiles and we can reach out to people, we can get new business. With affiliates, each one of those people is working for my business every day when they're marketing, every day when they're spending money, every day when they're on the corner and they're waving their signs and they're promoting their business, they're promoting my business too. The reason I like this is because there's leverage, right? There's leverage. You can get one good affiliate and you can set up your entire business for life. One good affiliate. At the end, I told you at the beginning that I was going to show you how these kind of all layer together. So, for example, an affiliate may be an example of somebody who has earned media and owned media. Right? They may be somebody who already has a pool of customers that's owned media that they may email. They also have maybe followers on some channels or whatever that they have access to. And so when you make that affiliate, they're using other ways of getting customers. But for us as business owners, we need to think of that as a separate way. For you to acquire that affiliate, you might have to do manual outbound. You might have to reach out to them, right? To get them to reach out to you. right? Or get them to respond or get them to do business with you. And so understanding all 6 of these work because they all kind of work together. The big picture here is that you have to, I'm like dropping my pencil, throwing it all over the place. When you're looking at scaling the business, I don't want to overcomplicate this for you. You want to pick one of these channels and you want to do it well and you want to master it. Once you have mastered it though, it would behoove you. And this is what I have changed as an entrepreneur. I used to always be the paid guy. You have to understand that. I used to always be the paid ads guy. All right. But as I've had more experience and as I have dealt with bigger and bigger businesses, and I've had mentors that I've paid lots and lots of money for, and I look more than anything at the businesses that they have and how they are enduring, I have now witnessed and lived through this transition of being all about paid ads and transitioned all or most of our efforts towards 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as the ways. And I can tell you I sleep great at night, knowing that I have all of these leveraged ways of getting customers that will happen inevitably. And if it happens inevitably, then it means I have less risk. If I have less risk, then I sleep well. If I have less risk, the enterprise I have is more valuable. It becomes more sellable if I choose to do that in the future. And all of this is because of how we see client acquisition. And so anyways, my friends, keep being amazing. Lots of love. I make this stuff because I know there's a lot of broke people in the world and I don't want you to be one of them.